So then if we get started, how about that? Here we go. Page 2. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one God, the thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 5. Teba Dujina, Jumende, Gilbuka, Jago Bumbori, Longe Longe, Gindu Jimbodan, Jonju Simbe, Gindu Jimbodan, Dojinu Jumde, Jumde, Zamona, Washi, Jawe, Chicken, Ambrage, Tingas, and Lanyo, Versus, Yonde, Simba, Simba, Jimbo, Baba, Jiris, Wanju, Jiragi, Baru, the Jimbo, Samo, Jibani, number, the Jimbo, Mawa, the Dalaya, Jigi, Tomba, number, Tao, the Nesangi, Seda, Demo, Sharibu, Janju, Simba, Simba, Jimbo, Baba, Jiris, Wanju, La Digi, Meso, Rijibu, Allah, Shiragi, Baru, the Jimbo, Samo, Jiba, Chuba, Duba, the Darla, the Jimbo, Badan, Janju, Simba, Simba, Baba Jenezi Wanchugi Sedan Demba Shari Dadi Bola Digi Jimezo Shari Bu Rigi Buan Rigi Bumu Ganala Sherigi Baru De Jimba Samu Cheba Cheba Deba De Dara Nambara Davar Jade Bumbonga Bode Dalayan Ranjigi Dombar Nambar Yanda Bar Jizu Tao Zu Tomba Tombani Zuzo Zule Tombani Jemayin Tombani Legan Su Jemayin No De Jindu Tora dan duje dan namber shiva nan dombo shari bu de da chue dan de dombo ni de sin ni me ba ma ge ba ma ga ba shi ma me ba shi ma dan shi wa me ba ga wa me ba wo shari bu de da wa na dombo ni la zu me zo wa me de ji me na ba de ba me na wa me na me je me lu me yi me zo me ra me ji me ro me re ja me je me do me ge ga me ba ne Ije kame ije nambar shebe gange badu yame do mare ba seba bane gashi me gashi sebe badu yame do dejendo doma wadan kunju wadan go wadan lame ije me doba me ma doba yame do sharibu de da wena janju seba na doba me be shiri shira je baru do jemba la teje ne de samla jeba me jen taba me de jenje lole shinde de ne nyangele de be thare chindu de zonu namba jube sangye tamje kya shara de baru du chimba la tene lana me ba yanda bar zo be changju de mombar zo bar sahang ye so de da waina shara ge baru du chimbe nga re ba chimbe nga lana me be nga me nyam ba da nyam be nga tongwe da je ra du shi war shi be nga me zu be na de ba she ba ja de shara ge baru du chimbe nga me ba ta ya da gade gade para gade para sangade bodhi do jari bu janju samba samba jembo de da shera ge baru tu jembo samola la ya tene tumde de tenge zen dele sinde janju samba samba jembo baba jene se wanchu leso she chawa jene lekso rigi bu de shindo de shinde shidar kyuge temba shindu shera de baru tu jembo samola chebar jade de jen sheba nam kyan jesu yirongo chumde dege je ka zene se dan temba shara da de budan janjo semba semba jembo baba jene se wanshu dan hamje dan tembe kore de da dan la dan mi dan la ma yi dan jisar chebe je den yiran de jonde dege sumba la ngumba te lo. Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, How should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke in the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. Because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Padas who dwell in the three times by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, where there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed, Tayada, Gandhi, Gandhi, Para, Gandhi, Para, Samgandhi, Bunzi, this is how Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound practice. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family, it is exactly like that. When the profound wisdom come beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagata will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirit, their artful ignorance, praised the words of the Blessed One, so in the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
Lawyers, I'm not the thing. I mean, one not people will do with it. It's a done to want to get in the house. It's another Manchu, that Chichu, that said it. And it's chile chair, the Mangla chair, the biggest summer town, my message. Nanchu, so the Chilu, Lumadi told the church, not single on the church. Oh, the none those that send me on the church, that everybody shall be not you, that you want to see. This we are essence.
And now it is Sunday, and we resume an introduction to Dharma, our Sunday lecture in an introduction to Dharma, and in activities that are external and internal, in activities that are physical and verbal, as well as mental. By Dharma, especially those that are internal. These are Dharma as we introduce it now.
Boy, second time, I said, and that of Patini that Marantugi, that Dewa, Dunge said, that Dewa the Dunge singing put Dewa Yunga said, Dunge Yung said. And they were too much about us to me, too much to say. That case at the gate for that under Rangi Lunga Yisum, your Lunga Yisum. In an etan. So Tambu, Yi Tone, and that took where in a Lunga took where, Rotter, but it is we are. Says that they do Kazan, Marango, Swat, and Tewa. Yoga Nashi, and Rangita, other Tungi, the long Kosum, Luma Yesum, the Kosum, the Konasabi, or Devatia, Luma Yesum, the Kosum, Konasab, we are says that the day 누가 예수 믿고내다 죽고야. 아니, 저 나한테 대시 없으면 다 들려. 아니, 제세야, 다 대시 또 찍히네, 이거 그래서.
So then we now, so then again, we now would consider how experience that is both painful and pleasant, and as there are all through experiences that are painful as well as those that are pleasant, and those that we intend that would be pleasant experiences, sometimes we cannot manage to bring them to pass, and then those that are painful come about unintended. And when it is this way, it is borne out through activities that are physical, verbal, and mental. And we would consider most those that are mental to put those into place, and then upon those to found activities that are physical and verbal, so that experiences, both painful and pleasant, that we feel and experience, we would understand are carried out, the karmas accumulated that are responsible for them, carried out in all three ways, physically, verbally, and mentally. And then the pain we experience follows from karmas that are accumulated through all three, physically, verbally, and mentally. So all three of these are involved. And when we urge another to dharma, it is urging them through these three doors, all of them.
뭐야, 다 된거 이게 다 나랑도 가르스나 다 랑기 다 내한테 간지치고 그래서나 대화 또 되봐 동네 또 믿어봐 되는 다 되니 실례샤야 싸움으로 되니세 다 대화 또 되봐 되지도라 아니 가르쳐 버려 동네에 매버 요한 마토비아 다 가르쳐 버려스 다 뜻이 다 대외 유튜브에는 대화 용기 여봐 대외 유머도는 대화 용기 매봐 동해지 주는 동해 용기 여봐 동해지 유머도는 동해 용기 매봐 그렇다 그래봐 이 차나 배다다 내 예봐 생기나 그거 열어서
So then we would understand the situation as it is, that pain is undesirable and pleasure is desirable. Just this consideration is the basis of all that follows, the mother of all that would follow. And pleasure is desirable. So what to be done in order to ensure pleasures? And pain is unwanted. What to do then to alleviate pain? Wherever causes for satisfaction are, there will be the result, satisfaction. Wherever there are causes for pain, there will be the result, pain. So if we wish to avoid pain, then we would eliminate the causes of pain. If we wish for satisfaction, we would bring about the causes of satisfaction. And this is the sense in which we mean karma is definite.
뭐야 간에 나가 너서 간에 너러버렸다 간에 너러버렸어 그래서 뭐다 대화 우기에나 대외 주주거로 돼 맞주버 다 동에 되게 면도나 동에 주주요 말마 이거 주버 세상 나가 되는 주버에서
So where is the mistake made? What's the mistake that's made along the way? When we wish for satisfaction, the mistake is that we accumulate causes for dissatisfaction. And where we wish to alleviate pain, the mistake is that we accumulate the very causes of pain.
뭐야 대의도 먼저 다 가르치고 그래서 저걸요 저다 먼저 가르치고 그래서 다 먼저 대화 되고 열어서 대외 주주 그래 동에 되고요 말에 동에 되고요 말에 아까 그래서 랜드에서
And so what does that leave us to do? What would we do then? Recognizing satisfaction to be desirable, then we would bring about the causes for satisfaction, and recognizing pain to be unwanted, we would eliminate causes for pain.
Oh, yeah, that they are group saying, they are group all, they are group shimba bor. Oh, dunge pang all, dunge pang shimba, dunge more trouble bor. Oh, the masuna dunge pang shing mare, dunge ki juz ka shing mare. They are group shing mare, they will do out, they are out tog mare, they will do mare.
And so then, unless we are familiar with what our causes for satisfaction, we will not accumulate those causes of satisfaction. And unless we are familiar with what are causes of pain, we will not abandon those causes of pain. This requires first a familiarization with pain as it is, for without such a familiarization, there can be no awareness of how to abandon causes of pain. So we would accumulate causes for contentment and eliminate those causes of pain, and this requires a first familiarization.
That any March was March, one March, yes, and that it was so do good. And to me, I saw what did it. And in a man, you might that could do so that they all could do it, do the way you could do it, the way you could save us. Oh, that is what was there for a chat, that they are doing. So do good, that to me, to book hard to wear your mother, so to not. 아니 그게 더 좀 얘기 좀 무엇인 거 차버렸어. 어디서
And going on, then one would consider who is it that is responsible for this? Who accumulates causes for contentment, and who is it who eliminates causes of pain? And furthermore, when would these causes of contentment be accumulated? And when would the causes of pain finally be abandoned? These are two natural questions. And the answer to the first is the individual responsible for this is no one else apart from each themselves. There's no pointing to another to say they are responsible for my contentment. One must point only to themselves and find it there.
저 이번에 가디주고 두즈 게스트가 가디주고 내가 가디주고 그래서 두즈 가디주고 그래서나 아니 또 비하기 추 비하기 개월 비하기 두즈 인신 두즈 로스케요 말에 어 제만 두 그랬었네 배 샤야요 말 아니 직다 안다 두즈 딜레세 세 이제 개요 말 두즈 가디르스나 하다 단다 주주 두배 주주 단달에 자기 약속 단달에 두개 단달에 제가 제일 아슬라나 다 바지 친구 종사를 했어요. 제가 단달 두고 해요.
And the second question then, when is the proper time for this undertaking, for dharma, for virtue? It isn't as though there is another time set apart different from this time that is the appropriate time for dharma and for virtue. And it isn't as though after some delay, the proper time will arrive. It isn't as though there's any other time apart from the present moment. It is, in fact, just now that is the time. And it is just now that is the time for all the conditions for this undertaking are present, and each is fully capable of it at present. And to ever think to delay is to allow for interference.
예, 제가 당한 주주 단달에 세고야 인세직 아니 제마 주주 요 말에 세가 인세니요. 나 제가 인세니가 인세배 친구를 했어. 가서는 주주 단다 치고를 했어요. 단다 친모토가 있나? 아니 백년가 사고 찾아했어. 만한 쪽이 단대 드린 뻔한 가지고 그배로 찾아와나 산이다 세치만이 부디 수고를 랩말 술을 라와요 말았어. 제가 라와 메디 다다 마두가 있나? 정친부지 라사. 제가 단다 쪽으로 시라고 그래서
To say that the present moment is just the present moment is just the time, and that any other time is mistaken delay. These two are crucial. That the present moment is the moment would be understood by recognizing the danger in neglecting the present moment. Just think, for instance, to illustrate this, of tomorrow and one's impending death. There is no knowing for certain whether tomorrow arrives first or death arrives first. And therefore, if the present moment isn't used, then one has fallen into great danger.
딱 이제 주주 제마 상나서 섬는다는 땅아 땅다 중마 좀 제마 지기 땅아 제마 주주 샤보지가 좀 지기 있는데 나눠서 선배한테 망고 주주 가두이 농거래라 수수 삼 세계래 삼거래 왔어. 그래서 이 삼바 이만은 다디 가서 최치해라. 같이 최쇼 랑게 최 용양을 같이 최쇼 안다티 차기 요래스 안다데 빼지나 시험도 아니 최다 주주 바로라 한다 너바치니 바지 치쇼도 가래서나 길로 봐서 한다 치는 나 당기 주주 당기미도 당에 제마 주주 상하지는 지기 마 제마 주주 라스는 지기 이삼바치 어디 삼로디 마족이다 최지야 바지 최대 바지 치쇼 지그레스 어디 바지 찍고야 빈세 가래서나 아니 제마나 타요 말 저기는 제마 제는 곧 줘야 개가 말지가 니라 아니 아주 첼 예봐요 아주 첼 수강을 말별로 세대가서 되기 말로 주 되기 로자 되기 세대가 나도 언제 만들 매번 인도 다들 아마랑 말 매주 좀 발제 참고를 해서
The tendency to imagine that another time, a later time, will be a better time, that a more suitable time is on its way. This is a very strong tendency for us. We will think another time is the time. We will most certainly think this way. And it is just this that is the greatest obstacle to us. And following the lessons in the textual tradition, it is said that just this inclination to postpone is the single greatest obstacle to a person realizing dharma, to always think that after some delay, the better moment will arrive, the more opportune time will arrive. This is the unfeeling insensitivity to dharma. It is problematic because later on is endless. Later is endless. There's no end to when we can delay. And so that's the one point. And the next is that it isn't definite either how long we will live. We cannot say certainly it is another 5 years or 10 years. We do not know certainly how long we have left.
yes, that 단단히 제 보이나 아니 가져서 치고래. 스타. 보고 아주 높다도 보고 싶을 때까지 시험을 보고 나서 저거는 단나 가르쳐 치고래. 그리고 어디나지 단나도 가르쳐 치고래. 해서들. 다 취치원도 다 당고 저 공숨 장갑 봤죠. 아니 콘도 숨지 봐도 맞아. 콘도 숨 그도이네나 카가 많이 봐. 배 퇴바 당고 퇴바지. 난 퇴배 퇴니 쳔바도 투삼 야야 삼 쳔바지 또바게. 아니 또바게 퇴디. 아니 양이 고는 라는 온도 라는 셈다. 거기 피해가 또바니 부디 저 출을 취샤고 대원하신 어디든지 주머니나 아니 다 야블린 지단 뒤고 시작이 그래서
Now then, if the present moment is the moment and it begins just now, then the question is, well, then what do I do starting now? And it's just the sort of question that a child would ask in a classroom. What am I supposed to do now? What one would do is recognize there is study and contemplation and cultivation, all three. Count out three and recognize these three. That one begins by learning, and learns a lesson, and then through contemplation can recall what one has learned, recalling it such that it gives rise to an insight. And then the insight is cultivated and reinforced and integrated into the mind so that the insight and the mind itself are one, as water mixed into water itself. And then when this is the process of demonstrating dharma, this is in fact dharma demonstrated.
세상 다 교수가 계신분인 거다. 시에서 다 계신분인데 다 그거에 삼바 매나야 그게 말이야. 삼바에 고바 매나야 그게 말이야. 세상 순간 예발도 거야. 그냥 그 지기지를 저와요 봐. 어디에 차대요. 그래서
Then one sees these three all together as vital, together, that to have learning alone without any contemplation is insufficient, or to have learning and contemplation but never any cultivation, this too is inadequate. That all three are present is vital.
오늘 먼저 신을 전도 담이 집에나 전도 답고야 미유디 제부 상고 배나 먼저 신도를 답고 이면은 신도를 답고야 미유디도 마 신도를 배야 호시게는 배주 야고 땅 여바직 치도 미유디 치도라 신도를 답고요 다신도 그거디 다신도 야고 깨야 돼 와깨랑 롱스야 여바디 그거버 이나양 용알라 담 알도 아니 취다 리더 트레이더 누가가 야고 마사나 아마 미유디 두고 말아왔어 지금 다그 영화 제발아 더 답에 수행이 야고 지면은 양 균제 신바 상당히 깨요 말아서는 당고 수행돼 야고지 얘네 바로 그 리더 참 주제도 따다 여가지 아니 얘는 담을 제부 듣게 아니 용주 도구로 왔어 배티나 신이제 알베트 쉬잖아
No differently, when planting with the goal of later harvesting a crop, it is the later harvest that is the objective that motivates planting in the first place. It's with a view of consuming the harvest later on that one plants in the present. The objective is that later harvest. Yet with the objective of a later harvest and planting a seed, if in the meantime the fertilizer, the water, and the rest are not present, then there will be no harvest. Or if those are present, but the seed that is planted is not a good seed, then there's no harvest. So there would be, in order to finally have the good harvest, which may be consumed, the good seed, followed by the fertilization and the water and the rest.
이제 이게 다만 스페셜 쿨레 현재 삼을 땅이나 아무 수행 야보 거야 쓰디 퇴바들 하루도 그 로바 현지적인 야보 거야 쓰디 추들 류도 조여도 잘돼 다 다만 제분미 맞지 다만 제분미 아니 제분미 다 롱쇼 내려와 제가 대대 이들 롱쇼 맞지 아니 공중 하루도 추그 류도 빼 야보 추가 쓰디 아니 삼바 쳔바들 삼바듯이 근데 다뭐 공중 랑이 별로 또고 잡아 깨 아니 랑배 대화만 동행팀이 깨면 대화를 로스에 줘봐 요아처디 근데 대부분 마상데 자기 어려서 그렇지
And then when we consider what is intended by the metaphor, it is this, that the study is like a seed. And then the contemplation, the recollection of learned lessons is supportive conditions which are required, as it were, the water, the fertilizer, and the warmth for germination. And then the cultivation itself, the cultivation in meditation, is the very consumption of the harvest and the result. It is to harvest ever increasing good fortune as one's prospects grow more and more favorable, as insights grow again and again in the mind.
뭐 이렇게 숨은 개치를 삼을 땅이나 겨봐도 개치셔. 겨봐도면은 아니 나 삼바 용해 요말 공부 연구 말해서 나 겨봐도 개치셔스. 겨봐면은 아니 다 간대도 지었으나 겨봐면은 아니 다 삼바도 공부 용원 빼는 것도 밀라고 매겨지. 밀라고 니가 매겨 미지여바이나 아니 미디 셈나다 배 강배 토가 자고 삼그레 리간 자고 삼그레 자간 자고 삼초로 와 삼초로 돼 거야 자투 말와 콜라고 연마 이나시 퇴바면은 삼바도 공부해 두고 말해 제가 밀라고 매가 빼자 숨고요 해서
In terms of their order, study is necessarily of great importance. Without first one studies, one doesn't have any material for their contemplation and cultivation. No study then no contemplations and no cultivation. In view of the order of this series, then, study is critical. No study then, no contemplations, and no cultivation. And the metaphor given in texts is of a person who hasn't the ability to use their hands. They might think to climb a rock face, a mountain, to the top of a building, but unable to use their hands, they are unable to do this. So, not yet having studied, one cannot go forward in contemplations and cultivation.
다 빼주나는 시험도 가진 것도 저저 것도 시도 퇴바디 아니 개치주의 뭐 퇴바 때문에서 드메이스 퇴바디 아니 나도 잘라 세고 이유는 잘라 세도 좀 봐라 아니 랑게 잘라데 녀봐 그 잘라 통야 자긴 통화에 자진 아니 나도 왜도 보고라 대단 퇴바디 때문 하나도 셈나도 뭔가 말이 봤어야 때문에 세야 드메게 민 빼자 드메게 민 따네 아니 뭔가 세 드메시 로트바 때문에 민다는 양내는 게 어려서
And in the preliminary practices, study is likened to the lighting of a lamp that dispels the darkness of ignorance. Wherever one would search for anything, one would do so only where they might see clearly the things through which they sort, rather than in any darkness. To find what one is after, one must be able to look for it in the light. Where there is the darkness of ignorance, that first must be dispelled, and it is said that study is the very lamp that dispels the darkness of ignorance. We give the name itself, this epithet, lamp dispelling the darkness of ignorance, and apply it to study itself.
잘라 나서 수수 강변나라 잘라 마모도 되거나 잘라 나라다 잘라 야가 누가 아니 야가 나라 야가는 야가 배 하면 자 치쇼도 연구로 어디서다디 네 잘라 수수랑 위에 잘라 자 치쇼도 수수다 잘라 위에 되나시 만나도 지도는 잘라가는 다 약속 이번 이 빼대 가서는 퇴버들었어 퇴버디 아니 라가 가두이는 펜만도 네가 가요 말했어 배낭은 좀 너를 잘라서 버도 있나 이게 이하로 쳐고 꿀봐 아니 라고다 뭐 여러 강이 뭐 채고 내가 찍을 대화 찍을 때야 그 중에 깨버치게 그랬어 퇴버디게 아니 그 가리네 다 간다랑 펜만 마도 네버 연구 말에 생기 꿀봐도 쳐봐다 내봐다 쇼로와세야게 다 강에 되게디 균이 요마스 저는 데메디 되버더라 펜베 차니 잘라 노리기 다 치쇼다시 빼자 송요래 송스
And furthermore, among one's belongings, among one's possessions, whatever they've got accumulated in their home, among all possessions, there's always that which is most valuable of all. And in ordinary human society, too, there are objects valued as most precious above all others. And another metaphor is given, and that is to say, of all wealth, there is no wealth that compares to the wealth of learning. And this is to say that what one has learned is only ever to one's benefit and never harmful. Different than the other wealth and resources that we might accumulate, which we might loan out and not have returned to us, or which might be taken by force from us, or stolen from us, or misplaced or lost. That we've actually learned is never lost, never misplaced, never taken from us by force, never stolen. And whereas other things that we come to possess are temporarily cause for some contentment later when they're lost or whatever might happen, they cause us to become distraught. It never so for learning. So it is said that what one has learned becomes one's greatest asset.
Oh yeah, 랑기 세딜라 아니 수수 랑 칼레는 개념도 내용으로 뭐 수수 칼레 조선단 기고야 요 말. 아니 레슨 바이시 오게 나타 레샤세야 돼 요마 수수 거의 유튜버도 요번에 유튜버 수수 거의 내가 나오면 내용을 아니 단도에 되게 세치말라요 되게 하자 더네 햄바 망고요 해서 무슨
And so it is wherever one goes in this lifetime with what they've learned, it always arrives there with them, never without any delay, never left behind, and never requiring any additional expense so that it is there with one. It's always there wherever one arrives, never left behind. And furthermore, it remains present as a latency in the mind in successive lives as well.
어야 나랑 부르는 거지 저 오게 너 망고 여바 있나 아니 랑게 배 산게 되바 여바 나시 남아 야 그러고 있나 살아 주고 있나 가르치고 있나 랑 되바 가르치는지 뚝뚝으로 봐 어디 나시 되바 여나 아니 삼바다 고바 차선 뚝뚝을 해서
As with the wish-fulfilling gem, which bestows upon one whatever it is they wish for, whether it is to fly through the sky, to burrow through the earth, whatever one wishes, the wish-fulfilling gem grants just that. So it is with what one has learned through their studies. It is the wish-fulfilling gem.
세상에 이제 뭐 다마저 타고 이 개침부 있나 다 개침부 찍으러 와 찍네 아니 개침부도 랑 냠랑 거 같아 다 딜라야 다달라 다마저 돼 실제 땅에 로체 아니 다 더버체 어디 천전이 해서
Then if it is so important as it seems so, then one would accordingly actually value it in just such a way, and then demonstrate that they value it so in actuality. And it's just this that we demonstrate now when we gather together to spend our time as we do.
거의 세상 다 더버 만주 더버 제리 가리 더버 지기 열했어 저 땅으로 저 땅으로 다 세상 가리 더버 지기 열했으나 더버 제 만주 더버 제디 가리 돌 된다 가리 베스 가리 더버 지고 했어 저거지 다 더버 지고 해야 돼 만한도 셈나라 소원나라 돼야 마 되어고도 마 기부 거유 세다 기부되다 대화대 간데스도 뭐지 이 대화대 토비아 간데스 토부도 당아 그배 셈나게 강에 류기 나다도 말로 거기도 어디 매 마요한테 가르치고 또 동해 되게 좀 셈는 동해 마요와 류를 나다 마요와 되게 가르치고도 쓰니 동해 기교 뭐트 아니 동해 비 뭐트 사람 동해 비 규대지 지금 동해 되게 그래서 규디 방법에 사 디터 냐내시기 어려서
Then if we need to study, then what is it that we need to study? What exactly would be the topic? So we are studying. Then what are we studying about? What is the subject matter for us? What it is for us is drawn from our experience, our mental experience of satisfactions and dissatisfactions. We recognize in the satisfactions that we would enjoy those satisfactions. We wish for contentment and satisfaction. And in the pains that we experience, the physical pains we experience, the mental pains we experience, we recognize that we would eliminate such physical and mental pains. Then how would we do it? First, we must be familiar with pain as it is, and familiarization with pain as it is involves a recognition of what causes pain. And when causes for pain are understood, then those very causes may be eliminated. And this is our topic and our subject.
어이 이 난에 다나가도 조선 제약이 배제돼 있잖아 그 장주 람림에서 왔어 람림 람제서 봤어 이 나라 다 가르치기 어려서나 아주 터바치야 돼 가래서나 다 나랑도 달라 지도 나랑도 수수기 미세나 아주 대도 좋아 걔가 나시기 동에 아니 쌤라 남자 르르 나자 다 가르쳐 봐야 돼 인주간가 동에 빼로지 샤 아까 동에 된지 그런 게 쇠투기 민도나 아니 동해 문에 동해 되게 빼 되게 쳐야 오늘 되게 동해 아니 인송 동해 생각을 이 아니 간데스 그래서 쇠투고 말했어 동해 친구 되지 쇠투고면은 아니 동해 친구들 간데스 여기 배스 당어서 갑자기 자기가 그래서
And when this is the topic of study, and when we have the text that we do with this very topic, the graded stages on the path to enlightenment, the path to enlightenment involves just this, the subject matter that we do study. And in this, the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the pains and pleasures of the human life are given as examples or instances of physical pain and mental pain, pains of the body and the pains of the mind. And when in a human life, the pains of birth, aging, sickness, and death are unbearable as they are, well, if it is so, also recognize there are hell realms, and there the pain is greater yet. Then when these instances of pain in the human life, birth, aging, sickness, and death are unbearable, how much more unbearable will it be then, these greater pains in the hell realms?
어이 나 제가 딜레이인데 나 말한도 한다 말한도 그 초에 나를 유교 말한도 동행지야 마 키우미도 거의 키우미도 다산 강에도 같이 좀더 독세하게 다 만들고 강에 진대야지 먼저 강에디 딱 야제도 마서는 빼 하장 취주 답에 베제도 시에바이나 간다다 등산께서 마선다 간다 그 제로도 마선다 야제 요말 콜 야제 개고 쉽게 말해 예 송구 동해는 삼로 땅 동해 소 동해도 직도 당데 랑 삼로 땅 이제 돌아서 주 고알레 양용사유나 아주 단다 지도나게 동해도 동해 타나 콜레고 걸 말해서
And this then is the counsel from the guidance from the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And in the experiences of a human life, in all that we recognize in the human life to be painful, in all the states that are dissatisfactory, all those things of which we say, oh, I'm not well, they're not well. There are all these issues and all of these problems, all of these issues and problems. They are negligible. If we were to quantify them, they wouldn't even register as 1% of the pain of suffering in hell realms. All of the pains that we see, all of the problems and pains of human society now, they simply wouldn't register compared to the pain in hells.
뭐도 제세단 다만 두고 삼로로 좀 퇴선 간디치고 레스다 간디치기 베스 좋았다구나 다 말한다고 한다 다 오케이 삼로 나와 다 돼야 대화 미드베 동해세 뭐지 다 미드베 동해 되라야 아니 다 말한다고 한다 수수기 한다 나도 밀을 내봐 밀을 때나 다 나도 제가 나지기 동해디 당고 멀때 그 빼라 맞지 빼지 빼디나신 아니 텔레 동에 채워 아니 던돌레 채워 이달레 채워 녀와 동에 찍 채워 어다 대좀마 멀때 아니 동에 대줄라 봐 랑게 동에 냠당기 동에 냠 아주 동에 삼로 땅다들 동에 냠당기 동에 당랭이 동에 스레기 만내시다 봐 먹고 열어서 동해 양당을 봐서
영상, 이 서로 있어서 서로 쭉
동해 당내스 동해랑 창아 수족배 동해 수족 세면나 좋네 거기 데스크 봐요다
알레 소소라니 동아니 양쪽 바다
근데 동해 당내기 때 다들 동해 양당 생겨와
아니
시행이 동해 양와가 민 동해 디 냐니디 나이나 아니 수족 양 독사를 조사 말해 그때 삼로 땅에 동해 냠다
네네
동해 당내스 동해 빼는 것도 빼 랑기 동해 간디지나야 쇠투바 될라야 별라비아 동해들 단도배 동해 가지 친구 유네 랑 쇠투야 이와 메저와 이래 동해 당내스 봤어
with study and contemplation to these ends. How is it done? Recognizing that contentment and satisfaction are desirable and pain and suffering are undesirable, unwanted. And when we recognize it with a human rebirth, with the biological endowment of the human body, that human body entails pain and suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death. It is the human body as basis, an instance for growing familiar with pain and suffering as it may be, and then extrapolating from it even greater pain known to the animals in the animal realm, and greater pain yet known to the Preta realm, and pain even greater yet experienced by hell beings in hell realms. One can recognize then ever greater pain experienced elsewhere. And one grows familiar with that too, so that they might sympathize with others in their pain. There are these two in recognition of pain and suffering. Sympathetic experience and identification with another's pain, the first, and then a patient willingness to endure pain, two. That first, the identification through sympathy with the pain of another is to see the pain of the other and then imagine their pain Were it my pain, would I be able to bear it? And the patient endurance of pain is a willingness to go through whatever pain one must.
어이, 나 당당하도 내 당보 장도 동해 당내 이 냠랜디 이스 아마 겁나면 또 됐을 깔래 가고요. 동해 냠당기 소화돼 나서 깨쳐오라. 깨는 깨 투그래라 지고그래 해서
Now, for a person beginning, patient endurance of pain is very difficult to manage, to develop. Without exercising it, one doesn't very quickly develop it. Whereas sympathetic identification with the pain of another, one is capable of developing comparatively easily.
당연히 동해 남당기 동해 세디 알아서 빼나 제가 미지조나 차샤베 나 알아서 대산 지조로 마주요래 마주요래 내면요래 대산 딜레 용도 가서 아니 셈나라 아들 배 동해 야녀들 통도상 높아 동해 배 파주고 동해 신이 동해 되게라는 통 아니 될라라는 미수바 배 삼는 거 아니 딜레게 삼로 디 아니 랑 소화들 랑 토를 레바 이나 아니 랑 수사를 수사 말해 아니 랑 간데지다 삼로당 랑 동해 야녀들 수수 임바 있나 아니 동네들 잘 보세요 보사 말에 오 되게 삼로 땅 전에 아니 동네 모처가 제대로 해서
Identifying sympathetically with the pain of another, we are readily able to do in human society where we see there is violent conflict, epidemics, famine, when we see others experiencing the pain of those conditions, when we see it, it can occur to us, well, were it me in that condition, would I be able to bear it? And then it is felt to be, in fact, unbearable, and one experiences the pain of the other sympathetically this way.
근데 인류 말한도 말한도 장답에 이미 통야 암조 거야 랑 르기 초야 맞으기 대도 다 동에 가르선 친주에서 되시게고요. 동에 친주에 되시 가르선 또 가르신 동에 친주에서는 아주 저한테 상관례고로 하다 수술로 빼는 나서 첨부지 그 얼마 강의 첨부 쌤나 감자유나 아 강의 첨부 뺐지 수술 쌤나 뺐지 게 쇼르고야 데마투야 근데 게 제대로 봤어 이나야 하나도 동해 내다 되게 야고 14호 집에 가돌라 이게 통통야 암조 보도야 소부 초토야 동해도 동해 춘주 산다 대시 되고요. 제가 동해 춘주 가래서나 곧 뒤쪽 차에 있네. 저도 예전에 지금 나사게 모여 차에 봐 있나요? 나사 신바 미리 통마투야 암조 고마투야 여기 명마투야 근데 동해 뒤를 삼로 땅에 있나? 거기 모여 차에 다시 춘주 차례. 그래서 제대로는 걸 춘주 대시게 비용이요. 그래서
So all of the pain and suffering, which is apparent to us, which we see and hear of, and which we can feel ourselves, it is nevertheless minor in comparison. But why would it be conceived of as being minor? Especially when we are very sick, we know it to be very painful. to entail great anxiety. Oh, I'm very ill. We cry out. We wiggle about in pain. We know this, that what we've seen and what we've heard and what we've felt of pain, and when we learn it is small, we would wonder, in what sense is it minor? The sense in which it's minor is its duration. It is of a short duration. It's finite, and in terms of its nature, it will be the very kind of pain and suffering that is seen and heard of and felt. It's not unknown to us. This is the sense in which it is minor.
뭐 되레스다 하다가 동해 폴라 배랑 소월 예바 동해 뭐 쳐봐 동해 근데 이바이나 아니 당하랑도 다다 수수 랑 나데에 있나다 랑 세나 남자 요에나 누르 나자 요바이나야 아니 수수 동해디 지 할라마스나 수수마도 셴베 동해 남아 용화도 동해 랑레 치베 셴 간다 단도 수수 강에 들릴 만도 신바들 동해 매바 소화이 마야다 랑게 나디 동해디 하장 베다 수요마투가 또 임보 된조 아니 셈나 라메바 쥐 투고 돼서
Niet dat maar zo. De halam is zo. Dat na dit amla halam mi semba de in rest in de dongan din na.
말만 말 파마자 수수 날 때는 수수 셈나 수수 나디도 수수 하자마도 수수 수요마투가 또 강에도 생기로 와 어디들에 고삼시 지투고 그랬지 아니 다베 데제 동에 날데오 아직 바게다 랑기 동에 들었다니 신기 동에 랑 소투와 어디데 제발 친구요 해서
And then when one is familiar and understands how it is one has felt and does feel in their pain, that while ill, while sick, when anxious, that it feels like this and it is so painful and unpleasant, then it is also well known that just this is what others experience. It is this pain that, when experienced personally, is so unbearable. It is just this pain that is experienced by others. And in this way, this familiarization with pain is very constructive.
이제 스타트인데 이제 말하도 지금 동해 생이디 아니 지금 밖에 다다 pendant 아주 동해 다다 시에도 뭐냐 송구 동해 하장 침보를 다당 아주 동해 취주에서 대시 개부여 왔어. 제가 파종하고 동해 침보지 대시 개 아니 그 동해 배 망고지 뭐저 동해 대시 개원도 아니 동해 대다 랑게 일단 나다 연구 말해 나 가진 연구를 했어 봐다. 선배는 소화나 그 연구를 받아 나도 밖에 계기면 계고야 그러네. 나 계기면 해서 봐. 막 계고 말했어 봐지. 연구를 돼. 이제 소화도 안 좋을 때 망고 용대로 와. 이내 이제 삼바이나 아니 다 수도 밖에 마지 와 있는데 니주야 버렸다. 계고 매나 제가 니주 상버렸다. 야 버려. 아니 이게 뭐고 같은데라 맞죠? 잘 주냐니 지금 쓰고로 와. 그때 레디 이내 안 한도 셈기 띵이 나와. 레기 박자. 유무 숙체다 유무 디고와 바자샤베 바자는 먼저 쓰면 되나 장가 야마도야 근데 지금 먼저 쓰면 바자나 요 그래서 되게 이든 상라 얘를 끼기 맨 제네랑라 하게 타줘야 봐 그럼 더 먹어야게 이제 시행 가야 파요 그래서
So this is to indicate pain and suffering as it is well known to us, our own pain and suffering. And then just now too, we are pointing out that the pain and suffering we know yet is minor compared to the pain and suffering in hells. And in such a situation, when pain and suffering that we do know is already unbearable for us. And when we look out to consider pain elsewhere in hell realms, we might well think to ourselves, yes, it is unbearable, but fortunately, I'm not bound there. I won't be going there. We will and are likely to think so. And if it is in fact true that one is not ever again born there, then truly, what great fortune and dharma is available to practice then. But in actuality, in the depths of one's mind, there are mental afflictions in their innumerable patternings already present there in the depths of the mind. Afflictions are there, and that doesn't leave us much of a basis for claiming there's no chance whatsoever I'm not going to be born there in hell.
Lamrim sani lendek namsha sheo du zamba lendek namsha sheo du maranzu we sem zama yebe ki bhaja tes nimu ge wang shabe bhaja tes ani kesi onbu sheba ge yudu tuye na mi ge tonya yeba amjo kwa yeba labe chaya yeba ge de chi su su tuye yena zambulin di na shong tuya yore na shong tuya yo mares de sung yo les
Jikten lana sagola di yamena ni jik sok tangmage ani
zambulin sagola dilande
sagola. Thus, in the presentation of karmic causality, in the mind with its dormant mental afflictions, it will be said of these dormant mental afflictions that if they were given physical form and shape, such that they could be held and seen, would that physical form of all of those dormant mental afflictions fit in this planet of ours? It would be much larger than even this planet of ours.
Rigi pedela, ani ta adreske yorasna imachik chudo ni zapshi na manjugi lunga ki joba kato chigire sem samu kaso tangire o re yorasna ta ani changa kyana ani changa kyama tuya migi tongma tuya 배 암조 년에 년마 투야 라고 창가 창마 투야 열어서 괜찮지 두신 담에 뺏어 버려서
And another example given, another illustration, that in 24 hours, in one day of 24 hours, how many actions that are physical and verbal transpire? And how many thoughts transpire? And when each and every one of them has their respective karma, then in all of those that transpire, is there any counting out how many karmas transpire that way? They are uncountable. They go well beyond what can be seen and what can be heard and what is even felt. Such an uncountable number they are.
진짜 이거는 맞다 맞아 주 군중 댐바 레자 니모티 인데가 또 전부 여봐 이나 아니 제부 동에 댐바 또 신부 가르는 거 말에 있다 맞아 삼로타서 수수수 삼로타 밀레 트워크 아니 왜 자니 양이 치고 해서
And when these that transpire innumerably are the very truth of origins, the truth of origins to pain and suffering when they are innumerable? Why wouldn't it be that their result in pain and suffering wouldn't be innumerable? One would think, one would reflect themselves upon this and then also ask others about this.
다 계시 제부 되게디 주디 제부 되게디 용 먹어야 나나 담부 되발래봐 or til레스도 동해 모신에 동해 미드버 로케 다 동해 미드버 로케 사도 마시네다 동해디 매버서야 답시시도 아니 다 육군중디 매버서 오라 육디 군중디 매버서 오라 다 매버서 또 그래서 아니 다 람댕 소레스 람댕 that's you never saw any they would do the never saw any 대화 토바스 동네 매버서 줘야서 람다 you 람댕 they would go there say that but they will this one.
And then in view of this, that from innumerable origins would result innumerable pains and suffering, would naturally arise a desire to avoid such a necessary result. And when that result, that is pain and suffering, is unwanted, then one finds out the origin of cause of pain and suffering in order to eliminate it. How will one eliminate it then? One eliminates it by producing the truth of the path. The truth of the noble ones, the path, eliminates pain and brings about contentment. This set of cause and effect is of the cause, the path, producing its effect, nirodha, cessation of pain.
Oh yes, that indeed that obulito the courage is another was stuff. Not like need to be but we never to make up with it. Chuji but getting loose Matria. Getting low, that a donation to miss a law. That a donation to miss a law. Chiwa Trager Yamsu Noya ni Chisi Megi Ese Maju Par Ese so and Tewa Mijuros. Well,
这种
我都是叫他，这个在这国不留住，搞着空头上兄弟谈过，
And bearing out just this with scriptural support is illustrious Nagarjuna's letter to the king, which tells us such sufferings are utterly intolerable. One will experience them billions of times. So long as the non-virtue has not run out, one will not stop living that life.
예, 세상 다 제시 미기we 내 마세베 파르돌라 아니 소 가데 아주 빅하게 소다 태와 메주바시 동해인베 한다 대답 매봐 배 가두이나 냠도 배 동해디 용고와 배틀을 뒤즈는베 로다 저와다 차다 자 망고시 로망고 차가지도 하잖아 간다를 로 가서 장가 잡네 맞잡네 레디 맞어나 대부디 용고고 여봐 어디 삼로 코르코레서
So long as the non-virtue has not run out, one will not stop living that life. That is, one will remain continuously coupled to that pain for as long, however long, here counted billions of years, whether you count them out or you do not count them out, so long as the non-virtues remain, one remains bound, coupled to the utterly intolerable sufferings.
뭐야? 다 우리 다 되게 시마 야용들 다 맞아. 다뭐 심지에 감 망고 예배 나네. 아니 미리 세대 하장 퉁퉁 엘레 아니 좋아시다 신신다 신도 들을 세답다 답 링아 여보 인생디 다레 미케와디 마조 바들로 거 데부디 용고고 유바 이르 어 세리와 용고 인생지 차가라 해서
And when we expand a bit in explanation, where there are so many sites where sentient beings reside, and where the human lifespan is relatively short, and all the other spans of life of the other beings in other realms are many times greater than the human lifespan, it's for this reason that so long as there are non-virtues remaining, they must be experienced. For this very reason, these lifespans are so long as they are.
예. 되게 간다. 여와다 이다다 등부들도 동해 채워 이어봐. 대양 동해 요하게 투수디 배로 파장 망고 이어봐. 진주고 둘째 대체. 다 뒤정은 수정원은 하나 좀 단단 하나 좀 땡상고 밀루토. 밀루티 때나 헬레 도데 세대 통화 여러데 세 통화 여러 나시 양 저기 가게 간다. 대월 두배라양 말하도 톱당 채워. 아니 고급 상아. 아니 가르치도는 제도에 차이는 차상 상아. 되게 된 건조를 외워 쉬울래 땡기고 그래서
And when lifespans of hell beings and the preta, and when the pain of hell beings and preta and animals is so much greater than the pain of human lives, also indicated by this fact is how it is to be a human being, though with a short lifespan. In that short lifespan of less pain, it's just that span of time where one has greater capacity to realize contentment, more freedom for bringing about well-being, the better opportunity for bringing about well-being, and the greater capacity. This too is indicated here.
이제 이거 좀 다른 거랑 하는 취지하기 고급 임바 고급 임배 나는 취지도야 튕긴 상황 어디 나는 취지도기 여봐 어때 된대 차나 예배 고급디 인상 다 취지해 이제 단달에 제가 이제 거리게 되는 거라서
Thus, then, the present moment as moment for demonstrating dharma, that it is the opportunity for just that. It is the moment with the conditions supporting just that, that it is the very capacity for just that. It's all present now. So now is the moment. And in this way, we return to that theme.
지금 딱 말한 걸로 밀라 카리어를 쓰니까 세 딜라 레사네 세 딜라 제부 용투야 여봐 당저 제부들 그런 것만 되시게도 여봐 통주 인주를 내 얘네 인주를 내세야 내 마음을 되시게 와서 통주 인주를 내디 또 밀려요. 그래서 이게 모두 세 딜라 레사네 세 딜라 제부 용투야 미버디 미때는 여봐이도 안에 상계도 자주 선바도 쉬셔서 유제들 인지미지 미국 여봐 그 제직 대해서
Then what do we have here in the human moment? We have uniquely a moment where the results of karmas created in this very lifetime may be experienced, their result known. There are among karmas various forms of karmas, those that are borne out in the same lifetime, those borne out in subsequent lifetimes. Here, those that manifest in the present lifetime, those which are accumulated as karmas and then ripen in their results in one lifetime, are especially unique to the human lifetime. So it is that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas especially require the human being in their audience.
일단 멜로디 파 잽산이 아니 양교 멜로 말하고 있나 아니 다들 말하도 취해 고급세디 그때 다들 주주셔 고급셔로 찍바레스는 달리 취해 치토고 고고요래 다 제약이 취해들라 아니 말도 이게 유튜브야 동행이 유방야 어떤 개념이세요 그래서
And with the present moment of having a human life, when it happens that it isn't so easily gotten again, then that will amount to the very loss of the opportunity of dharma. It is the same as having lost that dharma. So now is the moment to demonstrate dharma, to demonstrate the causes of contentment being realized and the causes of pain finally being abandoned.
거의 받으는 거 오늘 지나들은 것도 딱 거기에 송구 동의 시에 주주에 있는 동의 송구 동의에 년 두야라야 아무게 송구 동의 년도 있게 봐. 내가 송구 동의 줄 때서 이체가 영향을 전달라 아니 되게 대시 기아버레스 대시 기아버레 아 대샤 아니 가서 동의 냥당 아니 냐매체 전달라 아마 진이지 공적 아니 저거지 무슨
So really, our topic is the pain and suffering of hell realms. This is the moment to describe those. But in order to describe those and to consider them, there has to be an inclination, an interest in growing familiar with them, learning of them. And so it is to develop that interest and a recognition of the value of growing familiar with these that I have made these remarks. And now we will, for a minute or two, meditate in sympathetic identification.
일단 하나도 예 송기 동에 다 민마이 베르 하게 간다르 미기 마통야 동에 이제 당내 치고르스나 됐어 자세만 차하고 요래 딱 하나도 미기 통대 봐 아니 암조 거대 봐 아니 랑기 뇽대 동에 하게 비시 생기 동에 뇽도 서로의 동에도 아니 삼무스탄 이 동에디 아니 녀석의 녀한테니 미시바바 주고파 때문에 따다 근데 많이 봐 동해랑에 랑이랑 이나 아니 동해도 다 같이 영사를 냥투사마다 되게 삼었다 아니 제왜 동해에서 있다 미디어 되게 삼었던 다랑 동해디 마중에야 아니 셴라 동해 중나야 랑게 동해 단행이 수바 냠내는 겨투야 어디데 냠내 전달했다 동해 남단게 냠내싱 스펙 해신 거요 그래서
In the kinds of pain and suffering that are not apparent to us, that aren't visible to us, exercising a willingness to patiently bear them is a difficult exercise, then we begin instead with the pain that is apparent to us, which we see and hear of and experience ourselves, and identify it as the very same pain experienced by others. It's sensible to us. So we think of, draw into our minds the experience of pain had by another, and seeing it as it is, imagine ourselves experiencing just that pain. And then we evaluate, is this pain, this other experience is bearable or not? And if it isn't bearable, then how to prevent it? And if others experience it, how to willingly bear the pain of others to prevent it. So this meditation in sympathetic identification.
starting 거죠. 제가 근데 이런 수수 지금 야보 야투니 수부 대고 유니트서 아니 도지시 기름을 지는 야보 대토나 아니 뭐 당보여다. 달롱도 가도 샤도나 아니 뭐 당보여는데 도지 기름을 제. 아 수부 수수 따고 도지 기름 대마통이나 아니 거스도 루이도 봐 흘르지 샤 셈비 고치 대토야 답시죠. 그래서
Now, meditating, if we are able, we may adopt the foundational full lotus posture. And when the body is put into this position, then it clears the mind and the paths of the wind energy are open and clear. But if one isn't able to adopt this posture, then relax the body, but maintain a alert mind.
어이, 수고 내가 이제 가슴이 삼로다니 맞소 배지나 배섭수로야 삼로 가리다는 맞이거든 이내 다 배전도 찍히거나 아무도 등산 많고 뭐도 안 먹고 나라니 막 되는 배 천재 친구들 떠는데 미 아이 신 가시 배 강바제 라바제 배 수고 뭐마시 마차 수고 배 이제 단단하게 용시 받을 미기 다 맞소 통구도 하자다 대대지 삼로다 이 동네 년이들랑 이나 아니 다 가져야지 소리 두살에 그다음에 소리 두고 민도는 아니 다 동네 들려야 직파가 동네 되겠다 아니 되게 동네 용 거야 근데 가디 사 되게 para 다서 좀 랑게 레사 와이나 타바 신기 레사 샤 와이나 저에 타바 이지 삼바 되게 미과 지 샤나 아니 배 미과 셈 제지과 지 삼지 다음에 뭐 까마지 범자고 소
As for what will be contemplated, meditated upon here, it isn't as though it has got to be just this that is object of meditation here now, and that others won't do and can't be object of meditation. But here's one object of meditation to consider for this meditation. Recognizing that there is violent conflict everywhere, and that it actually involves the use of weapons, and the weapons cause explosions, and in the explosions, individuals are losing their arms and their legs, and their bodies are wrenched apart so that they become unrecognizable. And this is actually the case. And so if that were me, how much of that could I take? And when this pain is experienced as the result of karma, and when I have accumulated my karmas, how might I avert such pain? By removing those karmas. And how might I remove the karmas that lead to this pain as it is experienced by others. In this way, single-mindedly meditate.
Oye, 나는 벌써 가면 무슨 일이 있어서. 야, 뭐 소소야가 대통령 소소 잡을 때.
If you're able to sit in a upright posture, do so.
어, 아니면 나는 되고 싶어 보다.
I'm going to ring the bell.
야, 예,
1, 2, 3.
야, 로종기 콩뚜요도 동해 양당이 동해 딜을 때냐니 로종기 동해도 중에 로규도 열어서
In the training of the mind, support for the practices of mind training are provided by this sympathetic identification, which becomes basis for pain considered in mind training.
내가 드린 보자가 썸이야 하고요 봐 아니야 무슨 마세와 가리에는 그래서 장셰지도나 세르도 그래서
And so then we'll conclude here, and then any doubts that there may be or anything that isn't clear, we can, through conversation and discussion, clarify. Excuse me.
dạ quay nó sung thế nó mà
anything. And
dạ
if not, then we.
nói chung là nó
Thank you, yes, with you,
Yeah.
Jim. The realms are representative of physical spaces and also mental states of mind. Is that true for the hells as well? And if so, what mental states align with the hot hells, the cold hells, what I call the suburban hells, the hells around? How do they align, if that is true?
这些的呢，到코로에 있네, 면라와 대다, 아니 죽단 덴베 사자, 양래, 디마세 심기 뇽와 뇽사, 양 지기요로와. 제정데 아니 숙단 덴베 사, 야면은 네. 야면 쑥매 양요래. 얘네 디 아니 아니 서로한 양사 시네 아니 사회 동어 말이 사회 니아와다 아니 장외 니아와데 대다 심기 서로한 양수 간드치기요래. 간드랬대.
알레 빼 간다 나랑도 미루 딜러 빼 잘. 그런 대나 나랑도 미드비 동에 되게 비 빼를 치고 그랬어. 나도 쌤나 남다 누이 나자 요번 마신다. 빼 되게 유지 버지게 하래. 다야 수메 감도 있나? 수메 감 프라이나니 저 동에 요말 하고
서로 받으면
저 동에 요말.
맞아.
저 동에 요말. 제가 저 동에 요사디 속이 감마도 수메 감을 요말했어. 아무 찍 다시 찍스 도지로서 다 속이 감나네 저도 되봐. 왜 나네 다 동에 치 올래 내기 저거 치료 또 치중 것도지 아니 그거 막고 치려 봐. 왔어.
Our body in the painful experiences that are unwanted, it's just those painful sensations that are physical and mental, such as anxieties. These are such pains. But in the formless realm, recognize there is no painful sensation. So now we are considering the form realm, and within the form realm, the desire realm, where the intensity of pain is the result of the intensity of the underlying karma.
다 얘기 보면서 누가가 다 풍부 유효가 시시하다. 풍부 유효가 풍부 유효배 때문에 아니 소화되게 용고요. 얼마 그냥 풍부다 매배 내가 봐 소화되게 용하게 해요 말아.
So then, in the hell realms and the pain in the hell realms, it is pain based upon embodiment as hell being. It entails sensation and painful sensation. It's not a kind of painful sensation apart from the embodiment of it.
세상에 내 중에 용어보디 뭐만 레사베 내가 수진 대단 충분 직체네 동의 용어라서.
And the experiencer, the individual experiencing the pain, has been embodied as they are, as expression of underlying karma, which ripens on that body.
Didi chi anda ko nyongsa ki ne chodi bage nyewe tenla lebar mando chigi ta dungay nyonye ki tsowa di ngoma le sadu ki ne kapi ta kanda digi kanda lusum da chawa yebe thone an dungay di nyongo reso.
So it is underlying karmas express a particular embodiment in the ripening of their karma, and the hell being is just one such physical expression. And there, with this as the site, the embodied site of the underlying karmas, physical and mental experiences transpire.
Nyonye de nami ki tribudi nyewe tela nyongo re. Yudu ki tribudi ani turuta ida tela nyongo. Yudu de la ta cheba yudu la nyongo yudu yudu tes cheba tes yore cheba.
And so the fully ripened results transpire in through the hell being. Then the causally concordant results transpire through physical basis in the Preta realm or the animal realm. And in those causally concordant results, they may be consistent with the cause in action or consistent with the cause in experience.
내 프랑기다 한 내디기 단대기 제분요 된데 제마페나 냐왈레케 나미기 제부타 이네 이다 단돌레케 기둥기 제부타 타네 미케 어트스레마이나 미텔라양 거기 단대기 다들 제부요 그러나 레고는 사야 레 사야라페 무티네 페사 투야 여바 어다 아니 랑기 누르 내 나다마 뭐 여바 다 공부 마상와 뛰고요. 미때는 깨봐 있는데 이게 간가 단대 차다. 그래서 레지기 되불어야 배 되고 무슨만 먹고 열어.
As accumulated karmas are exhausted through their ripening, first ripening as fully ripened results in through expression in hell beings, then through preta and animal beings. When the exhaustion of karma has happened such that an individual is born a human being, then there are yet environmental results that will transpire in that human-born being as illness, susceptibility to illness, as disease, as developmental short lifespan, and the like.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. My question is regarding pain and the practice of exchanging self for other Lojong practice, mind training. It's difficult to fathom the unbearable pain and suffering in hell realms or lower realms and so on. Because they are unknown and unseen to us. But for me, it's also very difficult to see or witness the unbearable pain of human suffering. For example, one time I saw a video clip of a woman
who was accused of being a thief. And they beat her up and also set her on fire. And there were people standing around watching, and nobody intervened to help her. And I felt so badly, and it hurt me so badly to see her suffering. But you know, in my mind, when I practice, I try to say that, please, I will accept the sufferings of others and the causes of suffering of others onto myself. But I don't really go to the point of thinking that I will physically and mentally suffer their pain, like that unbearable pain of the woman setting on fire. In those cases, most of the time, I just pray that her suffering would end soon, her karma would, you know, end soon, and you know, she would be liberated from that pain. But to think that if I can really honestly take on her pain as mine, you know, and this is what I see, it's not unknown. So I don't know, it put me in a state of I'm trying to practice, and my practice is not really sincere, because I don't generate sincere feeling to take on the pain of others at this point in time.
Oh yeah, then the 동어 남샤 남제와 다데 아니 로종게 냠네기 나네 아니 동는 요라 동는 공개백업 제단 also tata 기시게 아니 냐웨 동어 른조 아니 송난 거도와 아니 가서 디 통야요 말에 아무튼 통야요 말와 아니 디 냐웨기 동어 른조 가서 통만요 아니 미세딜라 아니 통용웨기 아니 동어 른조 베나 아니 년통 책대바인 봐 년통 될라 아니 미루루존이 아니 꾸마체 부메체 아니 동대 땅네 매작 땅에도 다 되는 게디 통네 아보디 아니 뭐게 매작 땅네 동어 가세는 양대요나 되네 독바다 남라 되는데 개용도 디 모수도 버려 통통 와라 아니 저러디 아니 랍용도 아니 막 동nem디 공도 제단데 신기 동어 ngala naryong ra ngala membarsho ani samodi korchugurwa korchugure ani danglengi sobade jenero ani shengi dongnode ngala meyong ani samlo kangsukne tangurwa yinaya ngayi ba yena chuma mayemba yorwa te 당도 랑웨 말라부래 아니 저버디 아니 처마samre 간신데 난 원에 아니 메자 탕세기 부메 대기 동아 알라 아니 멤버쇼 사모디 원에디 코리용이면도 원에 코리용이면도 아니 디 동아데 아니 통통어래 아니 녀웨기 동아데 간데스 아니 로 choma mayimbe ngangne ngala membarsho kanjisani samata
에이 나 지와디 나나 지와에도 랭엔도 소스
within the question itself there are the answers, it supplies itself.
나 저거 지랑 또 랜디는 지랑 또 저 담보 아니면 저거 타는 라생다 저마다 저마 많이 봤을라 나 저마다 매나 저마 많이 봤래야 제가 하고요 아무 저마 될 장. 저마디 슉처처처다는 저마 많이 봤 인지 공나자 잡아 공나자 아무 저마 공 저마 공니 저마 많이 봤어 서버마다 저마 마고마 저마 많이 봤어 두개 나가요 말해 지금
In the question are the answers, and so I will respond moving backward from the end, and it's to respond to what you've already expressed, that there are indeed sincere and insincere, or first the simulated and then the actual experience of anything that is to be cultivated, whether it is compassion or love. First, the simulation of it, and only after going through the simulation will it ever be followed by the authentic instance of it.
다른 이유가 지랑 나로 저마다 그거 많이 받고 주 TV 냠랭 하는 한도 용 거야 이제 가르치는 지랑 기다 하게 배르자는 지랑 공외게 아니 데모델 때네 말로 소화치 랩사도 와서 소화들 랩사도 수수기 소화디 아니 양교 센는데 두바때 투나 오라메바 동해 동해들아 용예들 북한데 하게 저번 지도야가 동해디 동해는 뭐시야 나가 빼야고 차사래서
And then secondly, following this, which is the necessary first simulation, and then the following authentic instance of a cultivated experience. So following that, following what you yourself described, having seen the clip that did cause the response in you that it did, now you have in that response, which was natural expression on your part, you have what you would reintroduce to your own mind, re-expose your own mind to, as the very constructive beginning for that development of the familiarity with the pain of others, further development of it, and the exercise of that acceptance of taking on the pain of others.
그랑 내용원에 되게 아마도 공부 공의 공부기 소화당 아니 유카리 용어이나야 되게 될라 세여봐 그랑게 누가 취주지 누가 누가디 뭐 세매가 되는 말 세여봐 아마도 공의 남식이 아마 미리 시해봐기 소화라 세여 말에 아니 다 간다를 내가 통투고 내가 통투고 말할 때 내게 세요 말해라 아니 용해야겠다 제마 동해기 원에 동해기 다고 용해 내게 남이 용해지 얘기 남식 용거를 마도 공해 온보게 그냥 두고 말했어 단단하도 칠로 빼셔야 돼서 그거 공해 온보게 뭐 대도 숨을 빼라 제네 아니 얘기 소화 대도 숨대 아니 용해야 염용가 파 옛날에 치고 해서
And in reality, and in actuality, the sensations induced by our sense faculties, whatever is felt and experienced, induced by the faculties of our physical senses, will always be finite, bounded. Whereas mental consciousness is not finite and bounded in the same way. We take as illustrative instances, pain that is manifest and apparent through our sense faculties. But then in any experience that would be infinite and boundless, such as unimaginable pain, that unimaginable boundless pain is going to be an experience of mental consciousness, particularly, and we take as illustrative instances of pain that are known through sense faculties.
세상 당당한 쪽이 보면 남시 되게 내가 지금 여러 왔는데 보면 남시 시발 락바 되게 내가 지금 여러. 그래서 시발 락바 되게 내가 지금 남시 시발 락바 되게 네 두고 말해. 걸로 보어. 가도. 가니 시발 참모들 내가 지금. 시발 참모들 내가 지금 아니 맞았다. 다다 내 통금이 도세야 다. 나한테 하고 맞아. 내 시험도 세야 되게 이제 망고지. 고라라시 가도. 제가 딱 맞고 다도 하게 민모 통해 동해시야 대화시야 또 가가 다셈 참우기 저번에 잡게 시기요 했습니다.
States of conscious awareness informed by the sense faculties are coarse. They cease. When they do, they may be followed by states of conscious awareness that are subtler. Those states of conscious awareness that are subtler, with the ceasing of those coarser ones, will resolve all of these uncertainties regarding what is unseen and so far unfamiliar to us. Unknown forms of pain and suffering will be evident to subtle states of conscious awareness in absorption in those subtle states of conscious awareness.
허야 하나도 깨워서 치료기 쌤 양면하고 자료 치료도 공부를 라고 가기 차로 타마 전에 왜 세션 다 왜세 네가 라네야 왜세 롱이어는 이제 봐도 롱이어도 아니 롱인데 손지 롱다 좀 막고 저다 어떻게 돼야 샤다니 깨war래는 야 공부시라고 그런 거 그것도 와 어디 나신다 잠블링 차다 삼 단계네 자 아니 그거 그 과, 3단계나 가다 시에바라고 수도야 라고는 타모 파게 두체 아니 레발 고스무 레사야 단 저바 남샤 간가 아니 타마타 잘라도 뭐수 뒤서도 시에바 타모 하 잠서데 시에바 타모는 잠도 이제 이 아니 맞아 다 대두그 남샤게 이네 저와 되게 하나 참아내고 그래서
In the production of birth and in the cessation of death, in the process of dissolution during the event of death, coarser states of conscious awareness give way to ever subtler states of conscious awareness until finally clear light dawns. And then from the dawning of clear light, then again with the agitation of moving wind energies, that subtle state of conscious awareness begins again to grow coarser and more coarse, producing an embodiment again where coarse states of conscious awareness manifest, and in the generation, in the production of a universe, and in its disintegration, and in the process of birth and death, is involved this expansion and contraction through ever coarser states of conscious awareness, and then again in contraction into subtler states of conscious awareness. And then that subtle state of conscious awareness is again the beginning for the expansion again into coarser states of conscious awareness. And so our reason for the exercise of this expansion and contraction. And so then, just as when, say, parents have 2 or 3 gifts in store for their child, and they give the first gift to the child, and the child is so delighted, and they with their first gift, and they know there's a second to come. Now you yourself have, in the experience you've had, your basis for an awareness of more yet to come that will follow from your exercising and intensifying your meditation and cultivation. And then the time has come to close with our closing prayers. And the point, in short, in closing prayers is to direct the virtue of the exchange and dharma in instruction and listening, that accumulated virtue to the removal and purification of negative karmas that result in pain, so that the karmas are removed and the pain hasn't got to be experienced, both for oneself and for others, that others too do not experience pain by the force of directing this virtue to the elimination of the karmas responsible for that pain which is mental fear and anxiety, and which is physical, in order that all know contentment and that their pains and sufferings are finally dispelled. To this end, I recite these closing prayers, and when this is the motivation, then the prayers are indeed very blessed.
Lume mare ki don jowa
Page
yi
12.
mande jave ombo
The Yurjin, the
Dema zumbe
Sera,
tera kundu yang jambe yang ki sewe che song Tembe ba kuzan anke jo nye nye trube gena nye she Rangi chi che dobe lanke ne shura sewe chabe chake Trove yiji mba se je ne jewe temba ruri zinju chi Temba rinje choye ma charwa charya yamba chode Yiji chenpe yi raba jeba yi mende deje sewa jeba shok Seje gyawe me jong chile le zhu chanju lamji rinpe kyang Tabu nange yi ha bede shi gyawe zeba rindu kyong ju ji Lansa drumbe dungen rute gegen seje medan Sera kundu yawe mapa yi namda namda jawar magyoje Yanze teba jola chujoje tujin jola chumba jise Tude naye tatu joje rashi yasu chugun jaju ji
From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Pada for all those whose minds, wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life under your shield. May I find the best of the paths of complete teaching, and may I please all the Padas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold what is teaching for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teaching have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity, make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the Mighty One, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Lagi chi
Ye sabe ke
yewa di tena rowa kunga gambenda Yebara jizu losa raba yi tembe nimbo rindu saji sho Kare rave kowe shingane pendam dewa mayu Shere sewa tizi yato yi shabe sidi badu tengyur jik Yambe bawo jida tenpa dang kundu sambo deyang jishi Teta kuji jesu galun ji Kewa teta tangje radom Dusun shibe yawa kamchi gi Kowa dangla shodu Dagi dewe sawa digun jang sambo cheje radom warge Danjo senjo rembo je manje banang ji Yewa nyamba meba yang kone kondu bewa sho.
I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lothar Dao to shine forever. In a land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and goodness, all powerful and changes and counsel. Please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samathabhadra do realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits and methods, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone once of the three times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more.
아소들은 아마도 그제 채널 아니 지로 남시 야구는 아주 가지고 가만 나라. 이나 제 손안에
Oh, thank you, all of you, and if the weather isn't good outside, then we can share our meal in the far room.